Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish Podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmersday, August 1st, 2022. Happy birthday to my twin sister, Linda. On the show today, news, listener questions, and surveys, plus special guest Mrs. Shannon Ford tells us all about Disney's new cruise ship, the Disney Wish. And in our main segment, Jim gives us the history of the Hercules, the musical stage show on Disney Cruise Line. Let's get started by bringing in the man whose morning routine starts by saying, "Come on, Barbie, let's go party," in increasingly high-pitched voices until his wife throws him out of bed. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. Hey, by the way, Len, did you know if Barbie were an actual woman, she would be 5 feet 9 inches tall, have a 39-inch bust, an 18-inch waist, 33-inch hips, and a size 3 shoe? That seems like very poor engineering to me.
It sounds like counterbalancing needs to happen here.
There we go. And I'm wondering if Margot Robbie has been informed of it. She's actually playing the title role in the Barbie movie that Warner Brothers has been shooting over in London since March.
Have you seen the video of her in the pink plastic outfit with roller skates, rollerblades?
Yeah. I mean, I just heard that Ryan Gosling is playing Ken.
Ken, yeah. There's a picture of them together, and it's just the most adorable thing.
Okay, but you understand that Ryan Gosling is also the guy who's in The Gray Man, the thing that just dropped on Netflix. And I'm hoping Ken is a touch less homicidal than The Gray
Man. Let's hope so. I think Margot Robbie has excellent comedic timing. I think this is going to be a funny movie.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. But that's July of next year, so we'll see.
Fantastic. All right, we also have a special guest on the show today. After graduating from Florida International with a degree in psychology, she went on to become Miss Florida USA 2002, Mrs. United States 2011, and Mrs. Universe 2021. In her spare time these days, she runs the fabulous YouTube channel about Disney, beauty, and lifestyle. It's youtube.com/Shannon Ford. Just back from one of the first Disney Wish sailings, please welcome our good friend, Mrs. Shannon Ford. How's it going, Shannon?
It's going great. And just came back from 2 Moonlight Magics, too, from the last month.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think it was 2 in 2 weeks.
How was that?
It was great. We did the last one at Hollywood Studios. That was right after the Wish. And then we just did a day trip. We're about 3.5 hours from Walt Disney World.
Right.
So we did a day trip up to do the first one at Animal Kingdom. So it was a lot of fun.
So these are the DVC events that happen at different parks at night after the park closes to regular guests, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What were the crowds like?
The crowds were okay. The biggest problem with I find is that the lines for the snacks, because they give you three free snacks, and that is longer than usually the lines at the parks. And for Animal Kingdom, they actually gave you 2 free games at the
No way.
The carnival, and they had different prizes. They had like these little dinosaurs that you could tell were brought in for these events. They were really tiny, but the lines for that would take 45 minutes. So we ended up having, and you only got one chance. You stood in line. So they cut off the line around 11:45. So it was really sad to see a lot of kids kind of walking up at the last minute and then being told they couldn't play. So hopefully the second and the third one go better, because I think that was probably not run the best. But otherwise, it was a great time. You know, we got to ride Everest 3 times.
At night.
And I have at night with a 6-year-old. So that was fun.
That's fantastic.
Doubling back to the snack line, though, it's kind of interesting. The trainers used lots of food motivation, and just interesting. They're using the same thing with the DVC.
The same people who are feeding the lions are also feeding the guests. Like, if we put this out in the right way, we can train them over time.
There we go.
No one likes free stuff more than DVC members who've already shelled out thousands and thousands of dollars to Disney World. So
very true. Very true.
All right, let's do a quick shout out to subscribers over at disneydish.bandcamp.com. Thanks to new subscribers Paul Finley, Ian Tewksbury, and John Shannon, and longtime subscribers Kevin Barry, Dave Demore, and Bill Scurry. Jim, these are the horticulturists who not only create the intricate topiary we see during events like Epcot's Flower and Garden, but they also train plant-based stars like Grandmother Willow and Groot on their stage performances at Disney World. They say that Willow and Groot are lovely and easy to work with, and from working with Martin Short, they already knew how to handle the no woodpeckers clause in their contracts. True story.
You are, of course, watching season 2 of Only Murders
Only
in
Murders in the
This Building.
Building. I love that show. It is, in fact, it's kind of funny now because I'm in Florida, Laurel's in New York. So we have a no TV watching without each other policy, which means I'm now a couple of weeks behind on Only Murders in the Building. And also, are you watching the TV show Evil, which you have to pronounce, by the way, is evil when you say it?
No, but I've been hearing great things about that.
It's Mike Coulter from Luke Cage, Katja Herbers from, I guess, Westworld, and a couple of other people. I think it's sort of like, imagine a procedural drama like NCIS, but based around Catholic exorcisms. It's the mashup that nobody thought they needed until they actually saw it. I think it's a great show.
Cool.
All right, folks, let's do the news. The Disney Dish News is brought to you by Storybook Destinations, trusted travel partner of the Disney Dish podcast. For a worry-free travel experience every time, book online at StorybookDestinations.com. Quick reminder, Jim and I are doing the second annual Gingerbread Challenge in Walt Disney World starting Friday, December 2nd, 2022. Shannon, I believe you will be there, right?
I'm trying to make it there.
Right.
I will be trying to make it there, yes.
That would be fabulous. Also, Jim, MagicBand Plus was released yesterday, and early reviews are mixed. Some of the functionality looks interesting, but we're hearing that battery life, both on the MagicBand itself and on your phone, drains quickly. So Christina was in the parks yesterday with a fully charged MagicBand Plus and said it lasted 2 hours and 20 minutes. So that'll be something to watch. Maybe there's a software setting in that can be tweaked. What are you hearing about this, Jim?
I've just been looking at the videos and talking with friends, and I honestly don't understand what this was supposed to do. I mean, you've seen the video of the nighttime show at Epcot, right? The
At Harmonious with the multi. I think it looks great on social media, but it's like on social media you see pictures of people getting ready to eat an entire wedding cake by themselves, and it looks great, but you have to wonder what the next part of that story is.
Yeah,
and I feel the same way about MagicBand Plus. Like, it looks great in this image or this 3-second clip with Harmonious, but what?
It's the whole notion of, all right, to get the full effect, I have to hold my arm in front of my face. It's, oh, look, it's coordinated. Ooh. I was just learning to deal with the people who hold up their phones and their tablets in the middle of nighttime shows or parades. And now we've got the magic. Well, the upside is the power will run out halfway through the parade. So
yeah, I think if there's a good thing to be seen here, it's that the battery will not last until Harmonious. So there we go. That's fine. So, I think the most interesting thing is the gesture recognition possibility. Shannon, have you been to Universal and used a wand there?
No, I haven't.
Okay. But you're familiar with the concept, right?
I am.
Yeah. So I think this is one of the things where Disney could use the Magic Bands and gesture recognition at games like the wand games at Universal or the old Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom game all around Epcot. But the thing I'm interested in is, are they willing to invest in the technology in the parks to do it? Because stuff like that takes a lot of development time and is kind of risky as well, right? If it doesn't land well, then you've basically blown it.
You've seen the video of, it's like a BB-8 and then Figment and somebody, waving their wrist in front of the statue and playing like a 10-second long audio clip. But are the figures responding to the MagicBand Plus or the vaguely threatening gesture? Don't make me come in there.
Yeah, when the instructions say make a stabbing motion towards Dopey,
probably
not the thing that we wanted to do there.
Well, I think with the battery life coming from someone who's not local, I'm close, but I'm not local. I don't think they're expecting people to play it all day long. Where that's where we're hearing the 2 to 3 hours not working. Because we did get one. We were there yesterday. We got, my son and I, my husband was like, yeah, I'm good. But we did get one, but I could see us playing the games a couple times, but not throughout. I think that's probably what their thought was. And then they realized, but there we have this whole clientele that they're going to go to the parks just to do this.
Right. One of the first use cases I saw was somebody who tried to play the new game in Disney's Hollywood Studios that involves MagicBand Plus and Galaxy's Edge,
Bounty Hunters.
The Bounty Hunters, yeah. And apparently that is like a 6-hour game if you play it all the way through.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know that the Magic Band lasts that long. So, the Magic Bands do come with chargers. What I would love to hear from Disney is what they thought the typical use case was going to be. Because to your point, Shannon, if it was just like, this could be something great as you walk by the statues, it'll be something interesting as you play like one game and then move on. Maybe it's like 20 minutes or 30 minutes of diversion per person per day. That makes sense even at that price point. Interesting. All right, we'll see.
Okay.
But I will say, if you pick it up in the park, I had an extra battery case, an extra external battery in my bag,
Right.
and I had to use that to charge it to be able to install to do the uploading. So if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to do it in the park.
Yeah, so I think that's a good tip, actually. Even when I go to the parks, if I know I'm going to be there all day, I'm bringing a very large backup battery just for my phone and for any other devices that other people have. And, you bring one of each cable as well, too. I actually have a handbag that I bring when I go to the parks for an entire day. It's a thing. So good point. Thanks for that, Jim. All right. Our friends over at WDW Magic have reported a small update in how the My Disney Experience app displays potential return times for Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane. If you've used Genie Plus or ILL, you're probably aware of an issue where MDE will say something like, you can get an 11 a.m. return time for Jungle Cruise. Click here to book that. But when you click to book, there's a decent chance that the actual return time you get will be completely different than the 11 a.m. that you were shown. And that bug is a result of the platform Disney used to implement Genie Plus, which is behind the scenes, essentially a shopping cart app. And shopping cart apps are great when you're selling socks and sweaters because those are largely undifferentiated, commodity items. The socks aren't different if you buy them at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. But slots in line are different. So WDW Magic says that in an update to My Disney Experience, booking a Lightning Lane selection via Disney Genie has been changed to reduce the chances of seeing varying arrival window times. And they do that, Jim, by not showing you the arrival time on the first screen. So he essentially says, yeah, click here to book this. And then afterwards, they'll tell you what time you got. So you're essentially flying blind then. But I suppose that's better than offering you one thing and giving you another. Jim, I got to believe this is a short-term Band-Aid, not an actual solution. And I believe that because like Ticketmaster sells millions of tickets every year using technology I have to believe is pretty close to what Disney wants to do here. What do you think?
Well, as long as we're not talking about a $4,000 Bruce Springsteen ticket, I'm on board, okay?
Exactly. Yeah, the choice of a shopping cart app for that was kind of strange, but I guess I sort of understand it. All right, let's do a quick survey discussion. This one's from Matthew, who says, I just got back from a short jaunt to Walt Disney World, and I received a survey. It focused exclusively on dining and shopping, but we did very little of each, so it was short. But there were a couple of things that were interesting. And so Matthew sends in this question that says, which of the following groups comes closest to your yearly household income before taxes in US dollars? So the categories go from under $40,000 to $500,000 or more, with an option that says prefer not to answer. And so Matthew continues by saying, you've discussed Walt Disney World's look at income distributions in the past. And as usual, this one has 8 of the 13 choices at or above $100,000. But I thought it was interesting in the way that they banded 60 to 75,000, then 75,000 to 80,000, then 80 to 100,000 together. Why do you suppose there's a small band that covers the $75,000 range? And so this is interesting, Jim, because the first thing I did is I went back to see if this is actually a new category for Disney. And we talked about this in 2020. I went back and looked at that survey results, and it's true. So the category that covers $75,000 to $79,999 is a completely new category that was not present, and it's the only new category in this new survey. So good eye, Matthew, for spotting that. So the question then is, Jim, why? Why did Disney insert an extra category just covering $75,000 to basically $80,000 in income? So you know I love a good mystery, right?
That you do.
So here's the thing. I went back and looked at American households' incomes as of 2021. Under $40,000 category represents 30% of American households as of 2021. The next category, which is up to $59K, is 16% of American households. Up to $75K, the next category is 9%. The $75,000 to $80,000 range only represents about 3% of American households. And that is to Matthew's point, that is a super narrow slice. In fact, it's the smallest slice. It's the smallest category by percentages until you get above 175,000, when Disney's really starting to segment out like the obscenely rich from the very obscenely rich, right? So 75 to 80K is just 3% of American households. But here's one thing that I think is interesting. It's actually the next highest group of incomes above the median. And the median is in the 60 to 75K group. So maybe that's where Disney's deciding to really start segmenting out, like right above the median. That's what I could come up with. What do you think?
We are in a very interesting financial time, and Disney feels this compelled to ratchet up its focus on that group right there.
Yeah.
3% of American households
Yeah.
as potential targets for Disney World vacations.
I mean, it is sort of the middle class, right? I mean, it is you could see them adding this category specifically to say, these people are just above median. This is, let's call this the beginning of middle class. And I know it's not, but bear with me on that, right? If you wanted to generalize, but yet grab the higher end of that segment, you would start there. It kind of makes sense.
I don't know. It does. So, but we're coming out of a period where Disney was very, very focused on quote unquote the whales. Galaxy's Edge, $5,000 to $6,000, for a 2-day cruise on land. I'm on board. But you also have to remember that you do have the all-stars. And especially at this time when we're starting to really get to the point where, okay, let's start to fill the parks again. We need people back in those hotels. And that's why you would focus on those folks just above the median, the folks who were like, can we afford a Disney World vacation? I'd love to take the family. And it's like, well, yes, you can. And here are the hotels you could go to.
That's interesting. So you mentioned that. And I know at the end of this survey, there was also a question around, can we combine your answers on this survey with other things that we know about you?
Oh, okay.
I know that sounds that doesn't sound creepy, right?
No, not at all. By the way, the survey ends with, and you should buy some blinds. We're just saying.
you know, a little salad now and then would not kill you based on your shopping habits. I'm just nothing weird there. Oh, okay. I tend to believe you. I think that seems to be the most likely explanation, that they're trying to figure out how to segment this. By the way, Jim, speaking of money and customers, you saw that Universal announced record theme park earnings for the last quarter. Yeah, they're doing really, really well. So record number of guests, record amount of income for the last quarter. Good job, Universal.
Well, I know a lot of people in South Florida are going to Universal and not Disney World, which is something that's changed. It's definitely a shift.
Yeah.
Well, you open a new attraction a year, that'll do that.
you joke, but I mean, that is the thing that drives the theme park industry is new attractions. So
yeah, intent to visit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we've got time for one quick listener question. This one's from Joe, who says, Len, I love the show. Important question. Did you watch House of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 2 of The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse? Jim recommended it to you a few weeks back. I hope you got to see it. And all the new Paul Rudish shorts under the new Disney Plus original titling. My son and I love these shorts, and I wish there was more merchandise with these character designs. So I actually did watch this, and Jim, thanks for the recommendation. The funny thing about this cartoon, House of Tomorrow, is that it is the perfect parody of those 1950s era Home of the Future videos put out by what I can only describe as the big kitchen industry. Like, big pharma, big oil, you've got big kitchen. Plastics.
Yep.
It was super funny. It starts off with Mickey and the gang just loving all the new conveniences of an electronic home. And then, of course, things happen. I also wanted to mention to Joe, there's a brand new Mickey Mouse short out called The Wonderful Summer of Mickey Mouse. And the Wonderful Blank of Mickey Mouse is a series Disney's been doing starting with, I think, winter and spring. So check that out with your son, Joe. And thanks for reading it. All right, now let's get to our star celebrity for the show, Mrs. Shannon Ford. So Shannon, you have recently gone on the Disney Wish.
Yes.
Why don't you start with a couple of things? Number one, how'd you pick that cruise? And number two, what was your preparation for it like?
Well, the cruise picked us because we were actually the very first winner of the Year of Wishes sweepstakes, which was
Were you really?
And it was the very first. There was the Year of Wishes sweepstakes from June 2021 to March of 2022. They gave away 5 sailings a month for 10 months. So 50 sailings in total. And we were the first ones. And I won via Instagram. So
wow.
Congratulations.
Yes, I think I told my husband, and then I think I texted Chrissy. Chris, I was like, who else is going to understand how excited I am? My friends won't understand. So my husband got a phone call of me hysterical. He thought something had happened. And so we were on the preview sailing just before the maiden.
And what were the dates for that?
It was July 10th through the 13th.
Okay. And then did Disney give you any sort of like, here's how to prepare for this sailing? Here's
None.
Okay.
None. We
regular
got,
cruise, as far as you know.
It was a regular cruise. I mean, I had started a group on Facebook, just like you do on any other cruise. There's a Facebook group. So I started that, and we had two, because then media started getting invited and travel agents started getting invited. So I asked the other winners, I said, what do you guys want to do? So we had two separate groups, because there are some information that we were sharing just amongst the sweepstakes winners, because, hey, by the way, you have to pay taxes on any sweepstakes winnings. So those are some things that we were sharing, and none of us had information. I mean, we weren't getting confirmation until like 5 days before the sailing.
I mean, to be fair, Disney wasn't exactly sure the ship was going to go out.
Yes. Exactly. So it was I mean, we were supposed to get free testing, and then it was like, okay, you can use any test. You can use the Inspired Diagnostics, which is the one that Disney uses. But we were able to use any test. Like, we were just able to buy any test because they weren't able to get them out to us in time. So I just used the free government test, which was like, okay, thanks.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
So,
it's free.
Yeah.
All right, and so this was a 3-nighter. What were the stops? Was it NASA Castaway Cay?
No Nassau, just Castaway Cay, and it was a day at sea. And then they also gave us one free night. So the night before was at Yacht Club, so that was nice too. That was the first time for us.
Oh, that's nice. So you didn't have to come up from your house to the port directly. So you got to stay in.
Right,
and
that's
nice.
And they had transportation for anybody, because a lot of people flew in. We had declined the airfare because it was easier to drive, and we knew we were going to drive back.
Yeah, probably
Plus right
faster.
now, right, exactly. So they had like a bus that took everybody, but we were all at Yacht Club. And I will say, my touring plans room request came in because we got a great view of the fireworks from our balcony. So I have that on my YouTube channel as well.
Thank you for the plug. And was this your first Disney cruise?
No, this was our third.
Okay.
We went on the Dream for my son's first birthday, which was December 2016. And then we were on the Magic. If you can believe it, we got back February 29th, 2020. So we were...
You're like jumping through the border and customs thing right before they close it.
We got on the ship hearing about this coronavirus. We got off the ship, and there was already somebody in Miami that had it.
The world
so
wow.
The world changed. Yeah, the world changed in those 5 days, and it was a Marvel day at sea. But it was, when I say the most magical experience, because our son was 4, and I couldn't wait to get back on a ship. So it was, we still to this day how blessed we were to go on that sailing at that time, right before the world ended. Right?
Yeah. It's a great story. Yeah. All right. So you've been on Disney cruises before. Tell me about the. Let's just go through it all. Let's start with the arrival process on the Wish.
The arrival process was really smooth. Now because it was a cast, there was working cast. Mm-hmm. So our port arrival time was 11 a.m. We got there probably about 10:50, but we didn't start boarding until 12.
Okay.
And so that was something that we just wait. And there wasn't a lot of information. However, they were boarding event casts. There was a lot of information. Nobody really knew where to go, but even the event cast didn't really know where to go. So I don't think that was typical. I think it was just because of the sailing that it was.
Sure.
But it was great. I mean, we boarded, and they did the Wish where they handed us a wand. So they stopped us. We were right before the group they were about to do the Wish with the fairy godmother.
Okay.
And they stopped us for a second. They talked to us. And then when we walked in, they handed us a wand, and then we waited. I think they do that maybe every 10 or 15 minutes. So they announced you, and we let my son choose what he wanted our name to be called. And he said his name is Ryder.
Yeah.
So we were instead of the Ford, which is my last name, Quintana, which is my husband's last name, we were the Ryder family, because he runs the show. He runs the show.
Okay.
And it was great. But so it was definitely, we had that experience on the Magic, but on the Magic, we'd always left out of Miami. So you don't come in with that grand hall, like they announce you, but you're kind of on a hallway, right?
Okay.
Where here you walk into the grand hall, and it is, you feel it. You feel that it is different than the other ships.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite parts of cruising is that moment where you cross the gangplank and actually step foot on the ship. And then especially on a Disney cruise where you're typically entering into a multi-story atrium. right?
Right.
Because Disney wants to have that wow factor.
Yes.
You know, what was that like?
It was, I hate to say the word, but it's magical because you walk in, because the grand hall is grand. It is grand. And I've been to the atriums, and I also, I also cruise a lot on Royal Caribbean. My husband and I, living in South Florida, we cruised a lot. We're Diamond on Royal Caribbean. We love Royal Caribbean as well.
Okay.
But there is something different with Disney. It's a different feeling. And when you walk into that grand hall, it's magnificent. It's powerful. And then to have the player come out, and then there was I think it was Prince Charming and Cinderella were there when they're different princesses. They rotate throughout the day.
Oh, wow.
on this little balcony above the stage. And then the making a wish when you got on the ship was just, it's incredible. It's really just really well thought out.
Wow, that's fantastic. And then, so what did you? So typically, when I get on cruise, after I do my grand entrance, the first thing I do is go find something to eat.
Yes. Well, I have always, because it was this special cruise, there was no pre-planning.
Okay.
So we couldn't book anything in advance. So I knew I wanted to book the Olaf's Royal Picnic, which is replacing the tea party. But they didn't have that on our sailing, and we heard it wasn't going to start to the maiden. But my understanding is it just started this sailing this week. So that was, and I said, well, you know what, Disney just saved me $300. So
That's interesting. So I forgot about these upcharge events that you could do, but this is like the Perfectly Princess Tea Party over at the Grand Floridian. Oh, got it.
So this is something that now it's, because the tea party it's a princess thing, you know, obviously boys can do it, but there's not a lot. So the Olaf's Royal Picnic, same concept, but it's more inviting to both boys and girls. So
Jim, the next time we talk to Josh Gad, we need questions about Olaf's Royal Picnic scripts.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the word up.
Was that the only thing that you had to book at once you got on, Shannon?
No, we booked, we went into Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and then we booked a Captain Mickey makeover for my son, which, yeah, we were chatting before, is that now this is something that's just started for the Disney Wish. They are going to add it to the other sailings, but they have a Captain Mickey and a Captain Minnie makeover now on the Disney Wish. So I wanted to have my son do that, and we signed him up for the last night, which happened to also be my birthday.
Oh.
So he did that, and he didn't really want to do it, but I told him that was my birthday present, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. It was a great experience. Ella, who was, I guess, the godmother's apprentice now. I know they changed the name after we were on our sailing, but Ella, she's amazing. She was incredible. She made it such a fun experience. I had actually been following her on Instagram in the lead up to the sailing, and she happened to be his godmother. So it was a lot of fun. It was just great. It was great. It was a great way to end this. It was a great way to end the sailing.
And what does the makeover look like for Captain Mickey? So what did Ryder look like at the end? What's involved?
Well, he's wearing the royal blue jacket with the white pants, and then it actually we put him in the white outfit, the top, because it's a shirt underneath, and he kept saying, "I look like Top Gun. I look like Top Gun." And I don't think he's ever seen Top Gun, but he did. He's like, he goes, "What's that guy's name again? Tom?" And he did, and he kept saying he looked like Maverick. So, and he did, and he totally did. So, I mean, it's not very intricate. They did his hair. They put probably 150 little Mickey's in his hair with the gel. So, and they sprayed put the pixie dust so he could make a wish, and he enjoyed it. But she talked to him the whole time. She talked to him about sailing, about being a captain, how important it was. Yeah. So she really, I'm assuming this is some sort of script, but it didn't seem scripted, but she taught him how to hold his hat, how to be a captain. So it was really, really well thought out.
Wow. That's fantastic. I mean, that's the big differentiator between Disney and every other cruise line is how they treat kids, right?
Yes.
And they are in a class by themselves when they do that. So were there any other kids activities that you tried with Ryan?
Well, I went down the slide and I fell.
This is what I love about you. Like some people, Shannon, would be like, that's beneath my dignity to go on it. But you, and the thing that I've always loved about you is you will do anything if you think it's interesting, regardless of And so how was it?
Well, I fell. I mean, I went because I was wearing these white shorts because I Disney bounded the whole cruise, which is not something I typically do, but I decided to Disney bound the entire cruise. And I went down and the shorts were very sleek, very slippery. So I literally just went down the slide, and my son pushed me, by the way. He pushed me down the slide and I fell. Like, I mean, I flew off the slide. And
Really?
yes, and my husband was down. And to tell you the relationship between my husband and I, instead of being like, honey, are you okay? He just started laughing. He goes, I got it on film. So
It's going to look great on Instagram.
so I posted, I was recording with my phone and he was recording with my GoPro. So both angles are posted on Instagram and TikTok. So
That's what I love about you. You're not too proud for any of that stuff. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
All right. And then what kind of stateroom did you have on the ship?
So we had, I think it was a category 5C. I think that was the category we were assigned. I mean, we got it 2 days before. So we left on the 10th. I think I got it the 7th or the 8th.
Okay.
And we were on deck 6. So it was a regular deluxe veranda.
Yeah, that's a nice room. Yeah.
It's a nice room, and location, I will say, was spectacular.
Oh,
because
deck 6.
it was
Okay.
deck 6, because deck 6 is just one up from the balcony of the Grand Hall. So the Grand Hall is 3, 4, and 5. We were so close to the elevator. It was so quiet. I think everybody thinks that being near an elevator on a cruise ship is like being near an elevator in a hotel, and it's not. It tends to be very quiet. And we were close to the aft elevator.
Okay.
And we were just one deck above the Grand Hall. So a lot of times we just took the stairs.
Right.
And the restaurants are on 3, 4, and 5. So when we were going 3, 4, and 5, typically we were taking the stairs. So I thought it was great. Being near an elevator on this ship specifically is key. If you're midship, you're always going to be walking back and forth
I've
to
heard
an elevator.
this. Okay, I've heard
Yes.
this. So this is different. This is where the Wish is different than the 4 previous ships. Jim, have you heard about this?
Refresh my memory here.
They've pushed the elevators to forward and aft, and there's not. Shannon, are there any in mid decks, or they're gone now?
No, because of the Grand
Hall. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so normally when you're on a ship, and let's say you're on deck 5 or whatever, and you've got to go up to deck 12 or 13 to get to the pool, you're using an elevator. But Shannon, tell us how this has changed now on the Wish.
So basically, there's an aft elevator and there's a forward elevator. So if you're midship and you want to go, you're going to be walking back or forth and then backtracking. So if you want to go midship on deck 11, you're going to have to walk forward to go to the forward elevator to go up to walk mid. So, and there's no stairs either. So you're always going to have to backtrack. Where if you are near an elevator, it just saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of time. Now, we personally are kind of used to that because a lot of the Royal Caribbean ships are like that. So it didn't bother us, and we don't mind taking stairs. Plus, we were close to an elevator. And I think for us, we kept saying the Grand Hall is worth not having the extra elevators. But
oh, interesting. Okay.
We thought it, but I think it's a split. We heard people that, were like, no, it's not worth it. We thought it was worth it.
I've heard the same thing. So the interesting design compromise that Disney had on the ship, Jim, was this. They made the Grand Hall, 3 stories tall now, and it's much wider, but that came at the expense of the midship elevator bank and stairs.
I know.
Right.
You wonder if this feature is carried over to the other 2 ships that are joining the line.
Interesting.
I would think so.
And they've made some other changes too, which we'll talk about. But that's okay. So that's a good tip. So if you want to be near an elevator, you should book after forward, right?
Right. I will say on my YouTube channel, I have best and worst I Disney World, which I use touring plans, but I also have best and worst cruise staterooms. And I started with Disney Cruise Line, and I also have Royal Caribbean. And I did the Disney Wish one back in May of 2021, and I will be redoing it. There are some great rooms on the aft, and I will say I think it's 6196 and 6696. Somebody gave me a tour of theirs. It's a balcony stateroom. It's a veranda stateroom. It's a regular veranda stateroom, but it's basically a suite. And it's got a 1-bedroom suite, and it is a corner stateroom. There are a couple other ones that are handicapped accessible, so you need to obviously qualify for those. But these 2 staterooms, but the compromise is you're going to be walking a lot, because the closest elevator is a walk. So it depends on whether you like the space or whether you want to, have the convenience.
That's a fantastic tip. Will you send me the URL for that video? I'd love to post it on the show notes.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. So your stateroom was good. In terms of like recreation and activities, how were the pools? How were the kids areas?
So the pools are different because the pools are, and this is, if you've never done a cruise before, nobody swims on a cruise ship. You sit and
you bob.
You sit and relax, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't have that feel of a big pool. They're all split up. I thought it was brilliant because our son, you have some that are a little bit deeper. You have some that are more shallow. You can sit and watch the funnel vision. So there was a lot of that. But I thought it was great. My husband personally didn't like it. So I think and I'm hearing the same thing, like people either love the split pool setup or people don't. Now there is actually a stage. The Mickey pool turns into a stage,
really?
Which I think is different than the Magic and the Dream. I think those are it's actually a true stage. Like it was built to have performances. And you see that with the pirate party. Our set sail, a downpour came, so it got canceled. So, it was fine. It's Florida in July, it's 4:00, it's going to rain. And then there's this Chippendale pool all the way forward on deck 14. And to me, that's like the hidden gem because it's got shade. There's like a pool that's kind of shady. And then there's a pool, very, very quiet. It seems like to be the makeshift the adult area because the Quiet Cove area is tiny.
Is it?
It is very tiny. And it's this infinity pool that's super tiny. They have these 2 shallow pools. They're not even pools. They're like foot soaks. Like you just sit and you soak your feet. And there were a lot of people using them. I'm not an adult pool area. We have a 6-year-old. If I'm on the pool deck, I'm with my son. So I just went there to film. My husband never even made it back there, but there's only one whirlpool on the main public decks.
Really?
And it's kind of off to the side and it's in the adult area. There's no whirlpools on the main deck, but I feel like they made the true adult area the upcharge by making the rainforest room in the spa, because that's really, there's like this beautiful outdoor space. There's 2 whirlpools there. That's an upcharge.
I love the spa on a Disney ship. I think they're some of the best spas at sea.
Yes, but the rainforest area, which is, they weren't offering day passes. What I heard is that they will offer a day pass if the cruise line pass doesn't sell out. But I know on our sailing, it was $195 for a 3-night and it sold out.
Yeah. I mean, the word is out about how good the Disney Cruise Line spas are.
Right.
And I mean, I remember when I first started sailing, you could get a length of cruise spa pass for like $20 per person per day. And obviously now it's more than that, but still,
right.
It's one of the most relaxing spots on the cruise. Did you use the spa at all?
No, we didn't. I mean, it was such a short sailing. Yeah, okay. I really wanted to enjoy the ship.
All right. And then in terms of kids activities and kids clubs.
So, I mean, this is where I think the ship sets the bar for it. They really up the bar here because our son now, for the first 2 days, a lot of the things weren't working. The build your own ride, build your own suit, those things weren't working yet. And we were like, really hoping our son would do it because our son wants to be an Imagineer. And but he would come back. I mean, we went to pick him up the first night. It was 11 o'clock at night. And they're like, does he know you want to be picked up because he told us that he's busy and to come back later.
This is so true. Every kid, like when I think I've told you this, when Hannah went on her first Disney cruise, when my daughter went on her first Disney cruise, we actually had to make a rule after the first day, and that rule was you must eat meals with the family because we would have never seen her otherwise.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, he learned about the Haunted Mansion and he was telling us about all the effects. So they had this little like diagram that he brought home. And so the last night he did tell us he was able to build his own superhero suit and he was able to design his own ride. So he was able to do that the last day. But I mean, he couldn't wait. Like for my birthday, we had dinner at 1923, which we had asked for that rotation.
Okay.
And as soon as they sang me happy birthday, he goes, can I go to the kids club? And
I love you, Mom. I gotta get out of here. Okay.
Know,
and they're like,
yeah.
Can I have some gas money in the car keys? But that's a different conversation 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And I will say they put that restaurant very close to the slide for the Oceaneers Club. So I thought that was really well thought out.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. And speaking of food, how was the food on the ship?
The food was good. I will say the food in Marvel and the Arendelle were good, not great. Now I had a Chilean sea bass. I thought it was really good. My husband didn't like his. But the food in Marvel was good. The entertainment was great. The food in 1923 was spectacular. It was probably one of the best meals I've ever had on a cruise ship, whether it was specialty dining or not. It was amazing.
And so give us the setup for the restaurant and what did you have?
So at Worlds of Marvel, which was our first night rotation, and I do recommend if you are doing the Wish is to try and get the 1923 on the night that you're going to Castaway Cay, because it's just such a long day when you're at the, Castaway Cay that you don't want to have to deal with the show.
Okay.
So I always like ending, at least having the first night of a Disney cruise, if there's going to be some sort of dinner show, to make that at least the first night. So our first night was Worlds of Marvel, which my son loved. Okay. Absolutely loved. It was good. Now my food there was, I had a steak. I can't remember, but it was very fatty, which I'm more of a filet girl, but It was good. It was really good. And it was entertaining. The show was great. I mean, a lot of people think it's underwhelming. Our son loved it. And that was probably his favorite dinner experience on the ship. And then at Arendelle, the interactions are fantastic. Really, the performers are amazing. There is the final performance. They have these 3 players. It's a singer and 2 players. One does a drum or a guitar, and then another is a violinist. They do an instrumental of Into the Unknown. Okay. And it was by far one of my favorite performances on any cruise ship ever. It was just amazing.
Is this the one where the performers like walk around during?
Yes.
Okay. So Jim, this is is it the Rapunzel act that they do? Okay.
On the Magic, yes. It's very similar to that, except they actually have a stage now.
Okay.
So the stage is built, and we had wonderful seating. I mean, we were given, I think they probably give priority seating to people that have kids.
Sure.
So we had great seating right very, very close to the stage. And my son was dressed up as Kristoff. So,
of course, appropriately fitting.
Yes.
All right. So, World of Marvel is sort of like the Animator's Palette restaurant on the other ship. Okay, got it. And then, what did you have at 1923?
So 1923, that I had a filet.
Okay.
And my husband had a filet, and my husband doesn't really eat steak. And he said it was so good. It was so good. And I have celiac disease, so I'm also gluten-free. And so that also limits a lot of what I can eat.
Okay.
But they brought me out some sort of chocolate gluten-free, and it was incredible. I usually am like a 1 and 2 bite dessert person. Mm-hmm. I had the whole thing, and I wanted to lick the plate. It was so good. It was so good.
That is fantastic. So how would you say overall the food at the main dining rooms on the Wish compared to the food at the main dining rooms on the other ships, on the other Disney ships?
I think it's a little better.
Okay. Cool.
We're not foodies, so I'll be the first one to say it. We're not foodies. We, especially being celiac, I'll take what I can get. But it's very good. And I would say 1923, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm booking Paolo or Enchante the night of 1923." And I'm like, that's the one you don't want to miss.
Okay.
So because to me, that was the best meal. And I loved the space. I thought the space was beautiful. So if you're doing a 3-night cruise, we didn't even think about doing specialty dining because we didn't want to miss.
Yeah.
We didn't want to miss one of the rotations. If you're doing a 4-night, then yeah, maybe. But I wouldn't want to miss one of the rotations if we were on just a 3-night cruise.
Yeah.
At least not the first or even the second time.
Well, that's the thing, and this is why I don't recommend 3-night cruises to like first-time cruisers, because there's so much to see on a ship that it's not possible to see everything. And to your point, with 3 main dining rooms, it means you would either miss the specialty dining or you'd miss one of the main dining rooms. So that's not great. Last quick question. What was, this is my super interesting thing. How's the free food around the pool?
That to me, that is the best food on the ship.
Really?
It is.
See, I saved the important questions for last.
It is so good.
Is
It is. So I love barbecue. I'll eat barbecue all day.
Sure.
And we ate at the Mickey's, I think it's the Smokehouse Barbecue.
Okay.
We ate there every day. We kind of stopped there. We got on the ship.
Yeah.
We dropped off our luggage because there was no sailing. It was a preview sailing. There was a sailing the day before. So our rooms were ready as soon as we got on the ship, which was really nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that was really nice. So we went, my son ate pork ribs for 3 days in a row, every day on that ship, because he just, we're talking a 6-year-old eating like 8 ribs. I mean, it was so good. My husband, Donald's Cantina is definitely the most popular. So try and go there. If you want to eat there, go there the first day if you get on the ship early, because the second day when we were at sea, the line was just as long as the Aqua Mouse. It was crazy. But the barbecue wasn't too bad. To me, that was the best food. And it was gluten-free. I didn't have to ask them. They offered to bring me from the back, but they said it was gluten-free. The barbecue sauce that they used was gluten-free, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Oh, good.
So it was amazing. It was really incredible. So to me, I heard the pizza. Now they would make me a gluten-free pizza, but the barbecue was just so good. I didn't want to eat anywhere else.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I've heard good things about the food around the pool area. So that's great to hear you confirm.
And the setup is amazing, because the setup is you just walk around and it's like, okay, here, do you want this? It feels like a food court at the mall, because it's just like, do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want this? So if you want to go to different places, where on the other ships, it's kind of like, the pizza's over here and the burger place is over there. No, we could have eaten all at a different place and it still would have been convenient, because they're just literally, it feels like it's kind of like a setup of a food court at a mall, but Disney-fied on a cruise ship.
On a cruise ship, exactly. I'm super excited. So, Jim, you and I have an extra thing now to plan when we're on the Disney Wish in 60 days.
I just want to inform people that the Disney Dish to the Disney Wish event, you will find me by the barbecue place.
Exactly.
That'll be it. Just you're looking for me just to follow the trail of ribs, okay?
Follow the trail of ribs.
Put it this way: there was collard greens, and
really?
they were even amazing.
Wow. On a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean. That is just fantastic. All right. Well, that is super exciting to hear. I'm really looking forward to that now. All right, Shannon, thank you very much for that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, folks, Jim gives us the history of Hercules, the musical. We'll be right back.
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. There are plenty of ways to support a healthy brain, like learning a new language or by taking a power nap. Just so you know, I'm really good at that last one. But you know what else helps support a healthy brain? BetterHelp Online Therapy. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat-only therapy sessions, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's also much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Look, anyone who's been on this planet for the past 2.5 years or so knows that life can sometimes get a little stressful. And trust me, I know it can sometimes be incredibly helpful just to talk things out. So why not get some personalized therapy that can then lead to a happier you? And did I mention our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/DisneyDish? That's BetterHelp.com/DisneyDish. We thank them for sponsoring today's episode.
Every story you love, every invention that moves you, every idea you wished was yours, all began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor, asking a simple question: what do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I know that you said that when you heard Shannon was coming on the show, that you wanted to do something in honor of that. What did you come up with?
Well, I mean, Shannon has a hugely popular YouTube channel, so I thought, cast around for a Disney cruise-related story that features a video component. And if you go on YouTube right now, you can find Hercules the Musical. Likewise, its pseudo-sequel, Villains Tonight.
And I've seen Villains Tonight.
Okay, well, Hercules the Musical debuted with the Magic back in 98. It was one of 3 shows that debuted. There was also Disney Dream and The Voyage of the Ghost Ship.
I have never heard of that show, Jim. I'm guessing that did not last very long.
Very short-lived. So how does Hercules the Musical end up on the Disney Magic? That story actually starts more than a year earlier, back in June of 97, at a time when Walt Disney feature animation is feeling a little uncertain about its dominance when it comes to the feature animation field. And this largely comes on the heels of the enormous success of The Lion King in the summer of 94. It made $312 million during its stateside run. But the very next year, Pocahontas comes out and does less than half that business. And then the year after that, Hunchback comes out and does 2/3 of the business that Pocahontas did. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And there were those folks at Disney who were like, well, Pocahontas and Hunchback were both serious, earnest. I mean, they had gags, they had musical numbers, but they were trying to be important films. And it's like, people want to go to theaters to be entertained. And oh, thank goodness we have Hercules in the pipeline, which was being done by Ron Clements and John Musker. These are the 2 gentlemen who did both Aladdin and The Little Mermaid. So it's like, okay, these guys are going to deliver the fun. And because they had done so well with Aladdin, and in fact, that prior to Lion King arriving on the scene, that was the top grossing Disney animated film of all time. Sure. And a lot of, they believed that, okay, the one of the reasons that film did as well as it did was, of course, Robin Williams' performance. So it's like, can we do something similar with Hercules? And so the original casting for Hercules, in fact, they actually had meetings with him. He came to the Disney lot and met with Michael Eisner. They talked with Jack Nicholson to be the voice of Hades.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I mean, not bad.
But to make sure that everyone on the planet would want to see this film, they also talked with the Spice Girls to be the muses in the film.
Genius.
So think about the 1-2 punch there if they had landed Nicholson and the Spice Girls. But in both cases, tiny problem, Jack actually wanted money.
You know how he is.
Yeah.
People like eating, even if they're stars.
And likewise, the Spice Girls were expected to be compensated. And it's like, oh, we're Disney. Here's your bright, shiny dime. And it did not work out. So they're staring down the barrel of, okay, we need to make sure that everybody knows Hercules is coming. So February of 97, they launched the Hercules Mega Mall Tour. Goes to 20 cities around North America, where they proceed to hand out 4 million cassettes. And again, this gives you some idea of what era of entertainment we're talking about. 4 million cassettes of Zero to Hero, the song they had figured out at that point. Okay, this is going to be a hit single from the soundtrack, so let's get that out there. All right, this has to be special. This has to be important. So they have just finished renovating the New Amsterdam Theater in New York. This is where the Lion King stage show will debut in November of 97. But what they do is they decide, okay, we're going to hold the world premiere of Hercules here, because in the movie, Hercules goes to the Big Olive. So it's like Thebes. So it's like, hey, let's go to the Big Apple to celebrate the Big Olive. And then to make sure that people know that this happens. And again, as a native New Yorker now, you understand how special this is. They shut down 42nd Street and Fifth Avenue so they could present the Hercules Electrical Parade. They actually brought the Main Street Electrical Parade, which had retired the year previous at Disneyland, out to California. built 2 brand new parade units that celebrated Hercules, and then after dark rolled them up 42nd Street and made the turn to go onto 5th. And all of the buildings along the route cooperated and turned off their lights except
Wow.
one building would not turn off its lights, and that was the Warner Brothers store. All right, so you do that. You've done your mall tour, you've done your big thing in New York, but at the same time, the rest of the company is like, look, we have to support this because we're sure that Hercules is going to be the next Aladdin. This is going to be an IP that has legs. And so it's like, okay, what do we do to support this? So no less than 4 Hercules parades get launched in Disney theme parks around the world. The Hercules Victory Parade is presented at Disneyland Park in Anaheim, Disney MGM in Florida. There's also a mini parade that they do at Disneyland Paris in Florida, and they even do a parade of sorts at Tokyo Disneyland. And same time, they're already prepping an animated series to support the show, the Hercules, the animated series, which debuts in September of 98. They make 65 episodes of that. But for the cruise line, when our first ship goes out, because this is our new big franchise, we're going to produce Hercules the Musical. They take the wonderful music that Alan Menken and David Zippel write for the show and create this 45-minute long show that has to, again, because it's the Disney Cruise Line, has to be performed in rotation in the Walt Disney Theater. So it's like the sort of the stage magic of, okay, we need to have space in the wings so we can also have the props and sets for Disney Dreams. Likewise, the Voyage of the Ghost Ship show that nobody saw.
I mean, putting on these shows on a cruise ship is different than putting them on land because limited space, extremely tight quarters and stuff like that.
But I'm also thinking of the timeline. That's around the same time Titanic came out.
Oh.
So the Voyage of the Ghost Ship, it's not really what you want to see when you're on actually a cruise ship.
Here's a quick reminder about your own mortality. Please enjoy.
There we go.
All right.
13 months earlier, Hercules actually came out in theaters and proved to be a disappointment. I mean, it was the first Disney summer, quote-unquote, blockbuster to not sell $100 million worth of tickets in the United States since The Rescuers Down Under in 1990. And it was just
wow. Okay, that's a vastly different time in terms of like what $100 million is worth. Okay.
And again, it was one of these things where it's like, all right, I don't get it. We did the mall tour. We did the premiere in New York. Why did people not turn out? And so Hercules went in the rearview mirror fairly quickly because that's the Hollywood tradition. If you have something that disappoints, it's like, Hercule who? I have no idea what you're talking about. But here's the interesting thing. Folks on the Disney Cruise Line loved Hercules the Musical. Largely that was because it was sort of a combination of stand-up comedy and a musical review. In fact, kind of borrowing a page from Robin Williams, Hades in that show did a lot of topical humor. I mean, he was constantly riffing on what was going on in the news at that time. And this show was surprisingly popular. In fact, they had the opportunity to develop something new for of course, the Wonder. Give the next ship of the line. It's like, no. This is good. We'll keep this for the Wonder. So it debuts in 2008 on the Wonder, and then they shut down the show after a 7 or 8 year run on the Magic. Likewise, a similar run on the Wonder. And then they get guest comments because, face it, people go back. They have such a good time. They want to go back to the boat. And they're like, oh, I miss Hades. We like that show. Why did you get it? And so they wrote a brand new show called Villains Tonight. And literally,
made
the MC and, Hades.
It's the same show that you just described. Yeah.
The folks at Disney Theatrical, the folks who do the Lion King show at the New Amsterdam, and in fact, Aladdin's, in there now. I want to say Lion King moved to the Minskoff in Times Square. But they're sitting looking at this, look at this audience, this diehard dedicated audience for a stage show for Hercules. We should do something with that. And were you in residence in New York when they did the Hercules stage show out at the Delacorte in Central Park?
I don't think so.
Okay, this was September of 2019, and it mind you, it only ran for a week, and it really redefined spectacle because it had a cast of over 200 performers.
Holy cow.
But
That's a
got
lot.
these amazing reviews. People were like, oh my God, that was so much fun. When are you going to do this again? One of the reasons the show was so much fun and so successful is Roger Bart played Hades, and he's had a 25-year now association with Hercules. He's actually the singing voice of the teenage Hercules in the animated film. When you hear I Will Go the Distance, that's Roger. And he came back to do Hades and did a wonderful job. But this coming February, because, again, the production of the Delacorte was so successful, Hercules, the stage show, is beginning a pilot production at the Paper Mill Playhouse in New Jersey. And back in 2011, Disney did a pilot production of Newsies at this very same theater, which
I do remember this. Okay.
7 weeks later went to Broadway and then ran for 2.5 years and now is playing around the country. So this is an established pipeline for the company. This is a place they love to go to when they have a show that they're confident in and want to do the big launch with. Now, Hercules is headed to Broadway conceivably for the 2022-2023 season if this production of the Paper Mill Playhouse does well. But just last month, we learned that Disney is about to do a brand new live action reboot of the animated Hercules.
Really? A live action Hercules?
Yep. It's going to be directed by Guy Ritchie, who also directed Disney's live action reboot of Aladdin. And it's being produced by Joe and Anthony Russo, who are the directors of Avengers Endgame.
Say Avengers, yeah. So action scenes.
Oh, big action scenes. We could actually see, after all this happens between the Broadway show version of Hercules, likewise this new live action version, we can actually see Hercules back on the Disney Cruise Line in the not so distant future. I don't know, Shannon, if you've gotten to see the new version of the Beauty and the Beast show that they did for the boat.
I haven't. We're going on the Dream in September.
Okay, so that's the show that was prepped for the Dream. Len, this was launched back in November of 2017, and the thing is, this
after the live action.
That's
film.
It exactly. They came out in March of the same year. In fact,
we made a Bill Condon reference on last week's show. It's very timely. Yeah. All right, there we go. All right.
This is where you get to see Josh's wonderful take on LeFou. So yeah, going to be kind of interesting to see what happens if Hercules, the live action thing, is successful, because that could be used as the thing to go back to the ship. Anyway, one final little note here. We were talking about the voice of Hades. They went after Jack Nicholson and they eventually got James Woods for the role. Mm-hmm. But one of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood is that when you watch Hades in the animated Hercules, we dance, we kiss, we schmooze, we carry on, we go home. Everybody happy. That is what makes that character, particularly in industry circles, so satisfying. Is it's a parody of Jeffrey Katzenberg, the former, the former head of Disney Studios.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where when you get that, that's like, oh, that's a really mean in joke. But anyway,
that's funny.
In much the same way, you can go on YouTube and see, Miss Shannon Ford's wonderful videos. There's numerous videos of the full show of Hercules the musical and likewise Villains Tonight. And, I really recommend, if you want to see Hades in action, go check those things out.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jim. All right, thanks for that. We're all going to go search YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Disney Dish show today. Please help support our show and Jim Hill Media by subscribing over at disneydish.bandcamp.com, where you'll find exclusive shows never before heard on iTunes. On next week's show, the Pins Around the World event that was held inside of Epcot's World Showplace, the former home of the Millennium Village, which was a 4-day-long event and introduced pins to Walt Disney World. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and more of me, Len, at touringplans.com. Shannon, thank you for coming on the show. Where can people find you?
So my YouTube channel is just my name, Shannon Ford, and then I'm also on Instagram and TikTok at Mrs. Shannon Ford.
Fantastic. We're produced fabulously by Aaron Adams, who's giving away samples of his award-winning alpaca yarn as part of his sketch loom weaving mini class at Fiberfest Eureka a Fiber Arts Rendezvous, this Saturday, August 6th, 2022, at 1:30 p.m. at the Lincoln County Fairgrounds in beautiful downtown Lincoln, Montana. While Aaron's doing that, please go into iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We will see you on the next show.